Welcome everyone. Today I have the brand new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label Superman vs. Doomsday 2-pack. This 2-pack is a Target exclusive and is in very high demand. Doomsday is one of the most well-known and dangerous adversaries of the Man of Steel, as Superman eventually gave his life to stop the powerful and raging threat, which took place in the Death of Superman comic book arc. And his death is one of the most pivotal events in both the Superman comics and the entire DC universe. With regard to the packaging, it looks amazing, and the sheer size of it is mind-blowing. The box has a standard DC Multiverse packaging design. It's huge, and you can see the gold label seal on the top right side of the box. In regard to the interior of the box, you have the two figures, two bases for them, two comic book style trading cards, and two alternate hands for Superman. In addition, there's a backdrop of Metropolis inside the package, which shows the city in ruins. Here's the left side of the box. Then here's the right side. Here at the back are enlarged images of the trading card artwork. So on the left, you can see artwork from the Death of Superman comic arc, which displays powerful images of Superman's tattered and destroyed cape, along with a destroyed Metropolis and distraught people in the background. On the right side is comic artwork from the Reign of Doomsday comic series. And here's a view of the top, then the bottom. And here's Doomsday. So let's begin with this amazing head sculpt. He's got a ponytail, and I really like how McFarlane Toys designed it. Looks good. Also, it's soft and quite pliable. Furthermore, the spiky design on the head sculpt is just awesome. The eyes have a very sinister look, as you can see from the red eyes with the white pupils. It looks very good. There's also black shading around the eyes. The jagged teeth look great. The mouth can open up all the way, which is really neat. Inside the mouth, you can see a crazy amount of detail, and it's got a dark purplish paint finish. The tongue is very detailed, and the roof of the mouth has some very nice detail as well. Overall, this is a very menacing and awesome looking head sculpt, as the amount of sculpting on it is just phenomenal. As we take a closer look at the torso, we can see there are a crazy number of spikes on it. There are two big pieces of spikes on the shoulders, which are soft. And there's a medium-sized spiky piece in the center of the chest, which is quite soft as well. As for the myriad of smaller spikes on the chest, they have a hard texture. So overall, the torso looks really awesome. As we turn our close attention to the arms, we can see that they too look awesome. Just an amazing amount of spiky detailing on the arms. There are just a ton of spikes. And just like the ones on the torso, the little spikes are hard to the touch. Whereas the large pieces have a soft texture, as the ones on the forearms are quite soft. The big spikes on the back of the hands are soft as well. The belt looks great, and the bright green shorts are nicely detailed, as you can see from the creases and texturing on them. The big spiky pieces covering the knees are soft. As for the bright green boots, they have creases in them, which give them a very detailed look. Looks good. As we move to the back, we can see an enormous span of spikes all over the back, and they're hard. You can also see the upper part of his spinal column. Overall, the back section looks awesome, just like the rest of the figure. Here's the DC Multiverse stand for Doomsday. Here's the collectible trading card for Doomsday, and his bio is located at the back. Here's Doomsday on his DC Multiverse platform. This mega figure looks phenomenal. Everything from the sculpting to the paint job is very good. And the light gray wash on certain areas of the face, torso, and arms looks very cool, as it gives detail and definition to the figure. Here's the figure in another stance. And here's another view of the figure. Here's a look at the articulation. The jaw is articulated. He looks up that far. He looks down quite far. Also, he can look from side to side easily, and the head tilts. Butterfly joints, but their range of movement is limited. The arms only raise up that far due to the spikes. Full arm rotation, single jointed elbows, swivel at the elbow, wrist swivel, and a hinge. He can pivot at the diaphragm. Also, he can rotate at the diaphragm. Here's an ab crunch, and he bends forward that far. He bends back pretty far. He can pivot at the waist, swivel at the waist. He can basically do a full split. The legs kick forward quite far, and they move back very far. Rotation above the thighs, single jointed knees, and the lower legs bend back at an almost 90-degree angle. Swivel at the knee. The foot goes up that far. It goes down that far. Ankle pivot. And here's the Man of Steel. Regarding the battle damaged head sculpt, it looks really good. It's quite detailed, as you can see facial bruising on the right side of the chin and on the left side of the forehead. The teeth are gritted, and you can see there's some blood detail on the teeth on the right side of the mouth, and blood is also present in the corner of the mouth. In addition, there's blood under the lip on the right side. As for the facial sculpting, it's very balanced and really well done. In terms of the hair, it looks phenomenal. And if you look closely, you can see streaks of blue shading throughout the black hair, which further brings out the detail in the hair and gives it definition. In addition, the signature S curl is sculpted nicely. Essentially, the overall head sculpt looks awesome, as the facial details, hair, and overall sculpting look very good. As we look at the body mold for the rest of the figure, we can see that it's sculpted nicely. And this body mold has been previously used for Superman, and I think it looks really good. The Superman shield looks great, and in terms of battle damage, you'll notice various scratches in many areas of the suit, such as the left shoulder, the right bicep, and the right thigh. In addition, there's a battle damaged area on his torso where you can see some flesh. There's a lot of dark shading on the lower areas of the boots, which indicates significant battle damage, and it looks great. The cape is extremely tattered, and it's got numerous holes and rips on it. So overall, a very nice looking figure. But since this version of Superman ultimately dies in his battle with Doomsday, I would have liked to see a lot more damage on the overall suit. For example, by the end of his battle with Doomsday in the Death of Superman comic series, the entire shirt area of Superman's suit was highly tattered and basically ripped open. So that kind of detail would have been excellent for this figure. But nevertheless, the figure looks great. Here are the accessories for Superman. So here are 2 flight hands for the figure. Looks good. And then here's his base. Here's the collectible trading card for Superman. Then here's his bio at the back. Here's Superman on top of the DC platform, and as I mentioned earlier, it's a very good looking figure. However, I do wish that the figure had the yellow Superman logo on the back of his cape, but nevertheless, everything still looks great. Here's the figure with the alternate hands. And here's another look at the figure. Here's a look at Superman's articulation. He looks up quite far. He looks down quite far. He looks from side to side, and his head can tilt. He has butterfly joints. The arms raise up all the way. Full arm rotation, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist swivel with a hinge. He can pivot at the diaphragm, and he can rotate at the diaphragm. Ab crunch, and he moves forward that much, and he bends back quite far. He can pivot at the waist, waist swivel. The legs move out to the sides this far. They go forward all the way, and they move back this much. Swivel above the thighs, double jointed knees, and the lower legs bend back this much. Swivel at the ankle, the foot goes up that far, it goes down that far, ankle pivot, and the front portion of the foot moves upward. Next, here's Doomsday beside Superman for a size comparison, and in terms of the sizing, it looks pretty accurate, and as we all know, Doomsday has essentially always been much larger than Superman. So now, let's do a quick size comparison with some other Mega figures. So here's Doomsday beside Bane. Then here's Killer Croc. Next up is Man-Bat. And here he is alongside Caliban. Next, here we have Superman taking on Doomsday. And here's another view of both figures in battle. So to conclude, this 2-pack is just awesome. I mean, everything looks on point. And I think that is one of the best 2-packs by McFarlane. It looks that good. Now there isn't much there in terms of accessories, but the quality of this 2-pack essentially makes up for that. Both figures look excellent. In regard to Doomsday, he has an insane level of sculpting, and he just looks amazing. The face details, paint application, and spiky armored skin are really done nicely. And as we all know, this is the first Doomsday figure from McFarlane, and it does not disappoint. As for the articulation, his range of movement is not very flexible, but since he's a big, beefy monstrosity with spikes, the lack of a strong range of movement is expected. In regard to Superman, he also has an amazing level of sculpting. The entire head sculpt looks great, and the paint job on both the head sculpt and suit is extremely well done. In fact, this is one of the best Superman figures by McFarlane. I would have liked to see a higher level of damage on the suit and some fisted hands, since he's basically in a death battle with Doomsday. And the yellow S-shield on the cape would have been nice as well, but nevertheless, the figure is still one of the best by McFarlane. As for Superman's articulation, it's great. Overall, I will give this 2-pack an A. Thanks for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed this review, and please leave a like and subscribe.